Alaskan bear mauls mother near home. Alaska mother of three survives brutal bear attack after being dragged 100 yards from her home. A morning jog turned into a nightmare for a young mother in Alaska after she was mauled and dragged by a bear just steps from her front door. A nurse and mother of three was attacked early Tuesday morning shortly after stepping outside her home in Kenai, southern Alaska. Now let's explore this story in depth in today's AI podcast episode.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're your guides as we explore stories that will really make you think. You know, there's this incredible pull to wild places, isn't there? That raw beauty, the feeling of nature, it's captivating. We often sort of romanticize living right up against the wilderness. But what happens when that wilderness doesn't stay out there, when it comes right to your doorstep? Today, we're diving deep into something really harrowing that just happened. A bear attack in Kenai, Alaska. It's left a community shaken and a family facing just an unimaginable road ahead. So our mission today is to unpack this, look at the details, the human side of it, and the bigger picture. What does it mean to live so close to powerful wild animals? We've gone through the sources, and we want to give you the key insights, sort of a shortcut to understanding this really unsettling event. Okay, let's get into it. Try to picture it. A Tuesday morning in Kenai, Alaska. Really quiet. You can almost feel that crisp air, the sun just starting to come up over that huge landscape. Beautiful, right? That's exactly the kind of beauty that drew Ariean Fabrizio Colton there.
She's 36, a mom of three, a nurse. Her family had moved from Utah, drawn by Alaska. She really loved the outdoors, respected its power. But that morning, just about 50 yards from her front door, that wildness showed a terrifyingly different face. Ariean, the sources describe her as extremely kind-hearted, strong, and resilient. Loves adventure. She just steps out for a jog around 5 a.m. super early. And this wasn't way out in the wilderness. This was like steps from her house in a residential neighborhood. And that's where things went terribly wrong.
Yeah, right there, just yards from home. A bear suddenly appears. Came from a nearby property, it seems, believed to be a brown bear, a big animal. And the attack, well, it was immediate, just devastating. She was mauled. And then tragically, the bear actually dragged her almost 100 yards down the road onto a neighbor's property. That detail comes from Alaska Wildlife Trooper David Loring, who spoke to KTU. It just underscores the violence of it. And the chilling part, as you said, is how close it was, right there in a residential spot. It really blurs that line we sometimes imagine between, our homes and the wild, especially in a place like Alaska. It just shatters that feeling of safety you expect right outside your door.
Absolutely. And the moments right after, just a frantic rush. Ariean was critically injured. They had to get her to a hospital in Anchorage. And Anchorage, well, that's nearly a 2-hour drive from Kenai. Think about that in an emergency. It really highlights the challenges, healthcare access in more remote areas. The latest news from her family is that she's stable now, which is a huge relief. But the injuries are severe, really severe. Multiple surgeries needed, a long hospital stay ahead. It's just a long road. Her family started a GoFundMe, and they describe her, again, as extremely kind-hearted, strong, and resilient, always willing to help anyone. It's just heartbreaking thinking about the impact on her family. But, in the middle of this awfulness, something pretty inspiring happened. The community response, that GoFundMe page. By Friday afternoon, it had already raised over $40,000. The goal was $100,000. It just shows you the compassion, right? The strength of that community coming together.
It really does. And that immediate, huge wave of support. It says a lot, doesn't it? It's not just about one person. It really gives you a window into how these communities in places like Kenai function, that resilience, that interdependence. There's a kind of deep-seated self-reliance, but also this incredible mutual support that gets built in these wilder places. When something like this happens, the whole community feels it and they just mobilize.
Yeah.
It makes you think, is that kind of organic support sometimes faster, maybe even more effective than some institutional systems, especially with those distances involved?
Like a really interesting point.
And it also really shines a light on the practical difficulties for families. I mean, facing a 2.5-hour drive just to be at the hospital, that's a massive burden, logistically, emotionally, not just financially. So it raises that question, how do these communities provide that ongoing support? Not just the money, but the practical help, the emotional backing needed for a long recovery like this.
Right. It's about the long haul.
Exactly. It speaks volumes about their collective spirit.
So while the family and the community are focused on Arian's recovery, the authorities are, well, they're still very active. They're trying to secure the area and, crucially, find the bear involved in the attack. Alaska State Troopers, Fish and Game. They've got teams out tracking it. But according to our sources, as of when they were published, the bear hadn't been located yet. which understandably keeps everyone feeling pretty tense. So residents in Kenai are being told to stay on high alert. But what does that actually look like day to day in a place where, seeing wildlife isn't exactly unusual? Is the advice different now compared to the usual bear-aware stuff they already live with?
That's a really good question. It's about dialing up the vigilance,
Right.
Basic bear safety is like baseline in Alaska. But now officials are pushing for this heightened awareness, almost hypervigilance. They're stressing securing everything that could possibly attract a bear and being really thorough about it. So, yeah, garbage is obvious. But also pet food outside. Barbecue grills need cleaning. Even bird feeders.
Bird feeders.
Oh, yeah. Bears love birdseed. It's high calorie. These things might seem small, but they can draw a bear into a neighborhood. And once a bear gets used to finding food near homes, well, that's when things get dangerous. It gets habituated. They're also saying, be super watchful when you're outside, especially with kids, with pets. Keep scanning your surroundings constantly.
So it's not just advice, it's like an active duty for residents.
Exactly. It's about everyone playing a part in safety. Understanding that one unsecured trash can, one moment of not paying attention, it can have huge consequences. It becomes this kind of shared responsibility for managing that human-wildlife boundary. And the tricky part is these areas are growing, more people moving in, which just means more potential for these encounters.
That's a key point, the development aspect. This attack really drives home how thin that line is between our neighborhoods and the wild. It's not a solid wall, is it? It's more like a constantly shifting zone.
Precisely. And it makes you ask those bigger questions about habitat encroachment. As towns expand, we're building further into areas that used to be bear territory, wildlife corridors, places they forage. So naturally, you're going to get more encounters. It's almost inevitable.
Right.
It also makes you question, are our current ways of managing wildlife keeping up? Especially where homes meet wild lands, are we maybe unintentionally making these dangerous encounters more likely by how and where we build? And are bear behaviors changing because of this pressure? Are they being pushed closer to us, looking for food that's harder to find elsewhere? It's complicated, an ecological puzzle with real, immediate human costs. This specific attack really highlights that the dangers of Alaska's wilderness, as the source put it, aren't just out there on some remote trail. They can be right there, inside what we think of as safe residential zones. It just reinforces that need for constant awareness and, frankly, a deep respect for the environment when you choose to live in these incredibly beautiful but undeniably wild places. It's like a constant negotiation with nature,
Yeah.
And sometimes the terms change suddenly, brutally.
A negotiation that went tragically wrong here. Some thinking back on what we've discussed. We've seen this terrifying attack practically on a doorstep. We've seen the incredible strength of Ariean, this mother fighting back, and that amazing surge of community support. Just wow. Plus the ongoing efforts, the official response, the residents trying to stay safe in a place where people in wilderness live side by side every single day. It definitely makes you stop and think about our relationship with the natural world.
It really does. This deep dive into one event, so personal and tragic for this family, it's a stark reminder. Nature's power is immense, unpredictable. And that balance between us and wildlife, it's delicate, it's fragile, it pushes us to think beyond just the immediate danger. How do we adapt? How do communities hold together through things like this? What does it really mean to coexist with the wild, especially as our world keeps changing? And maybe this leaves you with a question to think about. As we continue to build and expand, how do we possibly balance our deep desire to live near nature, to be part of it, with the real risks that come from sharing that space with its most powerful creatures? What's our responsibility, individually and together, in keeping that balance?
Okay, one question for you. Should Alaska improve emergency medical infrastructure in remote areas to reduce travel time for critical patients? Don't forget to comment it. Thanks.